Oh, hey, people are here. What's up, Ninja Grill? Well done destroying the pyramid out of nowhere. Literally out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting anyone to be here at the moment. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. Everybody, welcome back to Dark Souls 1 lore. Pretty crunk. Do I recommend you trying to speedrun? Yes. That sounds like world record material. So we're here outside of Vamos. This here blacksmith, cause...
Why, you have an ember, do you? Forget about it. I don't deal with that kind. What has gone wrong with embers these days?
So, hey Sardi, what's up? Backburner, Ikami Tetsu, what's up all you guys? So, I just wanted to get that unique dialogue. If you, come to Vamos with an ember that he does not deal with, each of the blacksmiths has, certain embers that they do/do not deal with. And if they don't deal with the ember that you bring in, then they do have something to say about it.
I've told you I have nothing to discuss. If I have anything to offer, it's my smithing, and nothing more. I'd be of more help with that ember from New Londo, of course. It's a shame the whole place was flooded.
So he talks about an ember from New Londo, eh?
I've told you I have nothing to discuss. If I have anything to offer, it's my smithing, and nothing more. Speaking honestly, I must say that I'm at my very limit. There's no more work to be done.
Hey, Finesser, what's up?
Unless I have the flame of that legendary witch. But that would require a visit to Lost Izalith. Impossible.
And then, of course, he talks about a flame from Lost Izalith. I'm just going to alt-tab so we don't have to listen to him beating on a freaking hammer the whole time. So, very specifically, if you do talk to these... if you talk to the blacksmiths when you have access to the areas where you can find the other embers, then they generally give you the... They generally do give you an idea of where you can find them. Specifically, he tells us one from New Londo, and one from Izalith. God damn, how come I can't think of Izalith? I don't know why he says one from New Londo, because I'm pretty sure both of the embers that he uses are actually from Izalith, which is weird. Because I have the one from New Londo.
Well, what was that about? Don't be coming around here without a good reason.
Aren't you lovely? In fact, if we take a look at it again... yeah. The very large ember. This is the one we got from New Londo. I don't know why he said New Londo. I think that's weird. I triggered a weird response from Siri when I said, "What's up?" Huh. Oh well.
What's that then? Need some smithing? Then produce me some wares. I've told you, if I have any... Speaking honestly... but...
Yep, Lost Izalith.
I've told you, if I... but that...
Yeah, that's about it. That's all he's gonna say. Alright, that's all I wanted to show off with him. I just wanted to make a quick stop by this area real quick for that. Because today our plan is to go through Ulasil, where we left off last time, and the DLC area. How do his offerings differ from Andre's? Well, Vamos is able to make... he talks about embers nowadays going wrong. And that's because Vamos is fucking old. Really old, and he's been blacksmithing for a while, and any embers that he's had experience with or has used before are old embers, so they can only be found in old areas of the game, specifically Lost Izalith. I believe both embers you can find for him are in Lost Izalith, and Vamos can make fire weapons, Fire Ascension, and Chaos weapons, which we haven't seen either of quite yet, but we will later on. Anyway, we're gonna go over here talk with Griggs, because I'd like to buy his rings. And this, because it's useful. That, this, that. I'm gonna leave him with one soul arrow.
It's not that I'm concerned.
For now. We'll get that later. And I do want to point out to everyone, I have leveled up a little bit. This is something like 80 levels. I now have 40 int, 40 faith, 23 attunement, 30 endurance. I kept my vit super low, just for you guys. And now I'm able to use many spells. Which means let's go ahead and attune some magic, and let's take a look at what we have available, because we have quite a lot. We have very powerful magics, such as, let's say, Soul Spear. And if I wanted, I could attune 2 of them. This is a mechanic that you can do in Dark Souls. At least these old Dark Souls stuff. And specifically what that will do, if I come out of here, is it'll give me 8 charges of it, instead of just the default 4. Which is really nice. It's very, very helpful to have more charges. I'm gonna take Iron Flesh, just for fun. Whoops. Let's take Gravelord's Sword Dance, sure. There, now I have Miracles, Magic, and Pyromancy. I've pointed this out before, but it bears repeating. Pyromancy does not have any requirements for it, which is why Pyromancy is the strongest in Dark Souls 1 out of any of the Souls games. What? Thought I could warp to the... This is the Sanctuary, though. Oh, whatever. Anyway, very specifically, the requirements for Pyromancy are just that you buy the spell, which means that Pyromancy is good for every single build in the entire game. It is never bad to have Pyromancy available, and that's probably why they gave it scaling and gave it requirements in the future Dark Souls games, because it's a little bit good, just a tiny bit super good. Alright, let's go ahead and I'm going to kindle this bonfire a little bit, because we've got a lot to do in the air. Oh, look how naked we are. So nice. Anyway, we have a lot to do in Ulasil. So much to do with Ulasil. Hey, King Gerardo, what's up? Wish you could play Dark Souls 1, but I started with 3, so it's kind of hard to go backwards? Nah. It's easy to go backwards. No problem, man. Let's pick it up and play it. Also, you notice as you kindle bonfires, the fire, the flame gets bigger, stronger, more lively. And that's because you are, well, you were quite literally kindling it by throwing small shreds, scraps of the Dark Soul in there. No, Ninja Grill. I will not use Power Within. So, last time we were here, specifically, we came to basically this area, right here, and then I stopped off because I wanted to have a break and double check a few things.
Goodness, thou art safe.
Let's talk with Elizabeth again.
I offer thee my all.
You're so fast in 3, that's your problem? Not used to the rolls in 1 and 2? Well, of course. It only takes a couple playthroughs, though.
Thou
or
art
a little time, I mean.
Far, far ahead. There are many things I wish to ask, but I know that I must not. The perils of our time are overwhelming enough.
I like that. She's like, I know that you're from the future, and I want to ask stuff, but I shouldn't. No spoilers. Also, life here is kind of hard enough already.
Was thine eye glancing hither? Thou needst not hide thy wonder. I am a mushroom, after all.
Yeah, yep. You want to tell me how you came to be... No, we're not going to... Okay, then.
May the flames guide thee.
Okay, well, I was hoping she would go over the situation going on in the world right now again, but she didn't. Oh, well. We're going to be an elite knight, because I demand being elite. Yeah. Big boys. Anyway, the basic situation that she told us is the primeval human, which I'm just going to say right now is Manus, the furtive pygmy, kind of came back to life after his grave was messed with. which means they pissed him off so much he came back to life and bitch slapped them for the most part. Pretty impressive, to be honest. And he created, or ripped open, basically a hole into the abyss, and dark just started pouring out all over the place, and into this area, and started corrupting everyone and everything. So, Artorias came from Anor Londo to try and put a stop to this, because Artorias has, in the past, dealt with abyssal creatures, and been able to beat them back and fight them. But then Elizabeth is like, nah, Artorias ain't got a chance at all, because this isn't just abyssal creatures, this is the abyss itself that's spilling out into the world. And she asks us to go and save Princess Dusk from the fate of the rest of the people of Ulasil, because she's sort of a godmother to them. You're gonna be able to catch up with VODs? Yes, Finesser, VODs will be available, don't you worry, man. Even if you gotta leave soon. VODs will always be available. So, I kind of did want to talk a little bit about this grove area that we're in right now, and specifically about the elephant in the room, these statues here. And I'm not 100% on what they're about. Alright, Finesser, see you later, man. Catch you next time. So, I'm not 100% on what they're about, but as you can see, they all look kind of weathered and old, but the ones that are probably older, or at least appear to be older, are all headless and covered in even more moss than the ones that are that have their heads. Which, in Japan, something being covered in moss is kind of symbolic of it being old and gaining wisdom and becoming more intelligent because of it, becoming wiser with age. Whereas that's kind of different from the Western concept of something being covered in moss. Is usually that's from disuse or something not being used to its full potential, stuff like that. So it's kind of almost not really opposite concepts, but very different. And I kind of wish that they were all facing the bonfire, because at first when I first came here, I thought they were here giving reverence to the bonfire and admiring it and everything like that. But if you come over towards these ones, they're kind of facing more out this way, and some of them are facing out towards the end. They're not all facing the same direction, which kind of throws that theory out the window, unfortunately. I guess one thing they could be is representations of humans, and the younger ones, like the moss on their head could represent the curse of the undead infecting them, and then the as they get older, they quote-unquote lose their heads with time, and that's these ones that are fully covered in moss. But that's really a stretch. That's a really big stretch. But, you know, it's a stretch we can make, because they don't tell us. FromSoft doesn't tell us shit, so I'm telling you right now that's what they mean. Deal with it. So these are lanterns, and they're obviously... this is very representative of what Ulasilian magic is. This is just the light spell cast, and it's just kind of being held within this... these natural roots and vines that have grown up to encapsulate it. And Ulasilian magic is very much tied with nature. A lot of it takes something that already exists and alters it a little bit, which is very different from the modern day magic, as Dusk said earlier, where we just kind of take the force of the soul and shoot it out of ourselves. Like, say, with Soul Spear. And we'll get to see that in a little bit. I'll show off some Soul Spear for fun. I just want to point those out. I think they're very neat-looking lanterns, because rather than being just a torch on the wall or anything like that, they did something nice and unique by creating these vines, these roots that grow up out of the ground, and it's essentially just a plant to hold a cast light spell. It's really neat. Hey, Coloradical. What's up, dude? Welcome back. How you doing today? So, welcome to... pop up any second now. Any second now. The Royal Wood. Sure. We'll shoot some soul spears at these guys. Hello. So, as you can see, soul spear is pretty strong. Logan did a pretty good job when he made that miracle, that sorcery. Gonna shield bash him for a little bit. Anyway, these are the Ulysselian Gardeners. If you look at them, they look very similar. They're made completely out of nature. They're pretty much living roots, living vines, stuff like that. And they are gardeners. They have gardening tools on their back. They have a pitchfork in their hands and all that. And I believe that they were just kind of given life by Ulysselian magic in order to just maintain the royal wood and make sure that everything is spiffy and clean and all that. They're also rather annoying to face if you don't have if you're not using a shield. They can be super annoying. Let's heal just for fun. I have 20 Estus because I plan on taking a lot of hits just for the hell of it. I do want to show off Gravelord's sword. Talisman will work just fine for that. I do want to show off the Gravelord's sword dance. So, one thing that we're going to have to talk a lot about, a couple things we're going to have to talk a lot about here is, first off, the area that we're in right now. This area, in modern times, we're currently in the past. We are 100% in the past. We've already been told by Elizabeth, hey, welcome to the past. I know you're from the future, etc. As for where this is in relation to places we've been before, this is Darkroot Garden. Very specifically, the sanctuary that we fought, the area we fought the Sanctuary Guardian in, that area right across this bridge here, is where we will find Sif when we eventually go and face off with him. And this area is the back part of the Darkroot Garden behind the Artorias seal door. A lot of people think that where you fight Artorias is Artorias' gravesite, but that is actually not true. And we'll see some landmarks in a little bit that help disprove that. So, if you recall these guys from modern day times, these guys are basically the same as the Stone Guardians, but they are not covered in moss from age, and they have a completely different weapon. They have this big ol' hammer as opposed to using a sword. And they're very slow to swing, but they pack a punch. I mean, this is a strong shield, a lot of stability on this shield, and he is chewing through stamina. So, it's pretty impressive. This scythe feels a little bit weak. After all, these guys have a lot of physical defense, so a straight physical weapon isn't the greatest choice against these guys. But we chewed through them, no problem. I really like the weight and impact they gave these guys, but, you know, ragdolls remove all of the weight, and now they look silly. And now he just looks real silly. Whee! Bye-bye. Oh, hey, look. This one dropped an item when I killed it. Blood red moss clump. So, these guys, if they look familiar to you, like I said before, they're made of roots and vines and all that stuff. They're just animated roots and vines. They are the exact same guys that you see in the Darkroot Garden, but they haven't kind of aged and become bushier and whatnot and prickly and stuff. But they are the exact same bush monsters. So, this area of Darkroot Garden right here is... This building right here is where you would cross from, over where Alvina is. Alvina would be sitting right in that window right there, right in that window. And there's no bridge there right now. For some reason. I guess they build the bridge later on. I don't know why or for what particular reason, but Maybe just for convenience's sake, because you have to go a very long distance to get from there to the sanctuary, so that makes sense, I suppose. And right back here is where we found the Stone Guardian set in modern times. And for some reason, the elevators not only break down, but there's actually, like, no sign that there are elevators in the first place. Because if we take a look right here, there is an elevator right there that can go down. And that will take us to a place that we cannot get to in modern times. Anyway, Guardian Gauntlets, let's go ahead and take a peek. I think they'll be towards the bottom. Yeah. Gauntlets of the Stone Knights, Guardians of the Forest Sanctuary. The Stone Knights are golems animated by magic, and their enchanted gauntlets are oppressively heavy. So, they're basically the same as the Stone Gauntlets. They have the same durability, they have some similar stats, but the difference is just their magic defense and fire defense is swapped. That's the only difference between the Guardian Gauntlets and the Stone Gauntlets. I suppose that is just because of a wear down over time or something like that, but it's essentially the exact same set. I might want a bigger weapon to face these guys, a stronger weapon than our scythe. This isn't necessarily stronger, but I haven't used the Lucerne in a while. Alright, let's do the Gravelord Sword Dance. Yeah! It's fucking cool! But it hurt a lot to do, because I got smashed. And it also did, like, no damage. It completely didn't even kill this guy. So, the Gravelord Sword Dance is the miracle version of Firestorm. It has the potential to be better than Firestorm, but is, as a base, definitely weaker. The plus side is it comes with more charges. Gonna pull that out, big man. Nope. Take my spinning attack. Ooh, what do you get? Oh, Twinkling Titanite. That's pretty neat. How about you? Blood Red Moss Clump. Alright. So yeah, Gravelord Sword Dance is pretty neat. It does 20 charges worth at optimal casting. And it can do good damage if you have, like, a shit ton of faith. It's good for clearing out groups, that's for sure. Ah! I don't want to get hit by the big man. Ooh. That attack is pretty darn cool. I really like that attack. It's neat. Oh. I really like this shield, too. It's super good. This is a strong shield, guys. I have upgraded this shield a little bit, so that may be why my stability is so good. Yeah, the Lucerne's not necessarily the best of weapons here. He swung over my shield. So, we've seen this before with the Titanite demons. But it is possible to swing over shields, because shields do have a hitbox you have to hit for them to absorb the impact. And there's actually a technique called dead angling that is been used very... Oh, don't look at that. That doesn't exist. Don't look at it. Anyway, there's a technique called dead angling that's been used a lot in PvP for Dark Souls 1. Like, Dark Souls 1, dead angling is something you need to know how to do. And basically what that is free angling, unlocking from your opponent, free angling, and attacking in a certain way that you essentially just change your direction at the last second before you do the attack. And the game thinks that you swung one way, but it still connects you for swinging another way, and you go around their shield. It's really weird. By the way, I have a Black Knight Greatsword now. And it's +5, so it's going to do this to them. I'm also fat. So thick. Take this. Wow, that was unfortunate. That was really pathetic. That was really pathetic. Take this! That did less damage than I thought it would. Oh, I'm dead. Fuck. That did way less damage than I thought it would. That did like 200 damage. That was terrible. So bad. We haven't read this description. We'll take a look at it real quick. Great sword of the Black Knights who wander Lordran, used to face Chaos Demons. The large motion that puts the weight of the body into the attack reflects the great size of their adversaries. So yeah, essentially it's just a big sword. Simple. Alright, we'll take Quelaag's Fury Sword. It should do a lot better against the Stone Knight, the Stone Guardians. Oh hey, let's show what Iron Flesh does real quick. Go ahead and cast it. Alright, ready? We are the biggest and fattest that we can be now. However, we have all of the poise. All of the poise. We have all of the poise. They don't even know how much poise we have. We have, I know it says 86 poise, but that's what we had before Iron Flesh, and Iron Flesh gave us a lot more. So I can't move for shit. I'm the slowest person in the universe with that on, but enemies just literally just bounce off of me. It's actually pretty neat. If you want to be a big man, a big, strong man, then Iron Flesh is really good for it. Ow. That's bullshit. Hey, Undead Zebra, what's up, dude? Welcome back to the stream. Welcome to Lore. I need to stop getting hit by that overhead. I'm just too big and fat to dodge. Just the way I like it. Must be the sun because you can't stop gazing. Don't stare at the sun. You're gonna burn your eyes out. Don't listen to Solaire. He's a bad role model. Bad role model. There we go. See, that time his attack didn't go over my head and smash me into the ground. Instead, it impacted against my shield because I was positioned differently. Alright. I'm just going to show off how good Iron Flesh really is. Get back here, you fuck. Hit me. Give it to me. I cannot be knocked down. Ow. Like I said, Iron Flesh is kind of astounding. I can't be knocked down. Unfortunately, I can't move for shit. I like Iron Flesh just for that novelty. Pull it out. Nope. Okay. Oop. Quelaag's Fury Sword actually isn't doing a whole lot of damage to these guys. Surprising. Nothing's doing good damage to these guys. They're just so tough. The good part about Quelaag's Fury Sword is that I can swing it more than once at a time. How's my day been? My day's been interesting. I had to do a lot of stuff and things for preparing for this particular stream, but it was fun. Here, let's do some magic. Sure, let's use Beatrice's Catalyst. It's better. Take this. That's good damage right there. hit me like that. Oh, what'd you drop? Another twinkly titanite. Alright, so this area, in modern day times, this is where we got the enchanted ember. Back, it was surrounded by the mushroom people. If you remember, I murdered all of their babies and laughed at them. Good times. Good times. And this has a blue titanite slab. Let's take a peek at that. Also, don't mind the fact that I have 99 of pretty much everything. Blue titanite slab for weapon reinforcement. Legendary slabs were the domain of the gods. It reinforces magic weapons to +10 and enchanted weapons to +5. Legendary slabs are the heirlooms of a nameless blacksmith deity who forged the weapons of other gods. Weapons forged with this become rare legendary weapons. So, the blue titanite slab is the titanite slab for the intelligence weapons. Their low defense was strike damage, if you remember right. It's possible. I expected Quelaag's Fury Sword to do decent, because chaos damage is different. I like these little light-up flowers. I've always liked these things. Like them in Darkroot Garden as well. See, okay, that's that. Means this over here should be... Ah, yes. So, I want to just overlook this area real quick. If we look down here, does this choke point with these trees look familiar, guys? It really should. It should look familiar, because this is where the roly-poly cats attacked us in the back part of Darkroot Garden. This is where the giant cats that just kept rolling attacked us. So, let's come over here, because there's some stuff to take a peek at. Get up there. Oh, I can't get up there like that. Darn. Let's see, if I recall correctly. Yeah, these guys don't have shirts. I don't know why these guys don't have shirts. Oh my god! You annoying bastards. There's so many of them. There's so many of them in that area. That's one of the problems with that particular area, and going into that area, is that there are so many of those guys. It's very easy for them to just surround you and stab you in the butt. Let's see. Do I have any good blunt weapons? I probably have at least one. How much does that take? 36. Oh yeah, I also have a Black Knight Great Axe now. Don't worry about it. Oh, don't look at that. Don't look at that. We don't have that. That doesn't exist. Just don't pay attention to it. I can't one-hand it. And I don't really think I have a mace that's any good. Guess I have a hammer. I guess I have a hammer. Alright, let's go hammer some people. Hey, Roderick, what up? Am I cheating? No, I've never cheated in my life. Everything is legit. Never cheated a day in my life. However, I am going to hammer these guys with Andre's hammer, which I'm borrowing from him, basically, without permission. Don't worry, he has an extra. Because, you see, I would like to talk about them later. Oh yeah, strike is pretty good here. Boosh. Hey Sim, what's up? Welcome back. So, alright, one thing I have my work cut out for is talking about the timeline and when the events of the DLC here take place, because, oh boy, it's a mess. So, First thing I want to go over is the timeline for Dusk. Oh, look, he's drawing me out there, and then I get surrounded by these jackasses. Ready? Boosh. So, first let's talk about Dusk of Ulasil, and what goes on with her. So, a possible timeline for her looks like this. These guys are such assholes, man. A possible timeline for her looks kind of like this. So, in the past, Dusk gets captured by Seath and is held prisoner inside of the Golden Pea Golem for some reason. I don't know, maybe the golem falls down, maybe it gets lost, maybe it never makes its way to Seath himself for some reason. But Dusk is captured by Seath, held inside the Pea Golem, and it finds its way to the Darkroot Basin or somehow teleports into modern day times. Okay, so there's the beginning of her. The player rescues Dusk from the Pea Golem, and she travels back in time here and goes off to tell Elizabeth about her wonderful adventures and the person who saved us, or who saved her, about us who saved her. And then the events of what are currently happening in Ulasil happen, where they unearth the grave of the primeval man, and the abyss starts to spill forth. Now, Dusk at this time is taken captive by Manus, and then someone has to save her. Somehow, it seems almost like the timeline shifted, because it's supposed to be someone from this timeline that saves them. Otherwise, how could she be saved in the first place? And then because we come back here and we're the ones that do it. The pendant that Dusk had is lost, and Seath's Golem finds it. The player is able to get it, and then finds a portal ripped through time by either Dusk or Manus. Not sure who. Probably Manus, because it's a dark portal. And then, sensing the magic of the broken pendant, Manus grabs the player and pulls it down. And then the player does all this stuff in the past, and I guess preserves the timeline. There's the leggings of the Guardian set, right on that corpse. And it's so hard to follow. Like, time travel stuff is so fucking hard to follow if it's not done well, and it's really not done well in this DLC at all. On top of that, Dusk's corpse shows up at the Darkroot Basin right outside of the portal, which means that she dies in the area, I suppose? It's kind of weird. Anyway, let's say hi to Calamite. Hi, Calamite. How you doing, buddy? Hello. Goodbye. That's Calamite, the Black Dragon. And he flies over into that ravine that we can see down there. Look, that awesome ravine. Oh, look, there's an item down there, too. So, we'll be talking with him later. As for where we are right now... Why are you guys talking about sex with hookers? Come on now. As for where we are right now, this is the Darkroot Basin that we're looking over. This is the bridge that we would use to cross, and in the future there is a ladder right here that leads downwards. And apparently there's a lot of water in the area. Like, this entire ravine fills up with water. This becomes a bigger waterfall. Holy shit! That's what that stomping sound was. It was stomping. And so, if this was modern times and we look down there, there'd be a Hydra down there. But instead, that is going to be the boss arena for Calamite. You got something to say to me, sir? I hear you stomping around like you own the place. Shut the fuck up, I'm talking. Okay, so, Okay, fine. Come on over. Come on. I hear you. Get over here, asshole. I'll talk with you the same way I did with your buddy. Nice try. Your cheating ways. Asshole. Interrupting me. So here we are. This is a bridge overlooking, that would be Darkroot Basin. This place fills up with a ton of water in the future, and somehow, some way, a Hydra comes here. How did the Hydra get here? Because this isn't connected to the ocean or anything. This is just a lake with a river that fills into the basin. So where the Hydra come, I don't ask questions. It's easier that way. The Artorias DLC is in the past? Yes. The Artorias DLC is definitely in the past, and we'll continue talking about the timeline. Interesting note is if we look over here, if this was current day and we looked this way, we would be able to see some landmarks like the church of the parish of Undeadburg, but we see nothing. There are just trees there, which means that Undeadburg has not been constructed yet. Why does it have to come from the ocean? It's just a Hydra. Because the Hydra lives in water. Which means that it probably came from the water. So, Undeadburg hasn't been made. Undeadburg has not been made yet. If you guys recall, Undeadburg's a pretty large city area. It's relatively big. And one reason we can tell where this is, if we look up there, those are the walls of Anor Londo, right up there. Yep, I ignored you, Undead Zebra, get wrecked. So those are the walls of Anor Londo, which means that the parish would be right around there. I believe. Something around there. At the very least, we'd be able to see some towers that we could see that would be landmarks. So Undeadburg hasn't been made, and that's going to come up as I continue to explain this really incredibly messed up timeline that they have given to us. So I'm going to attempt to explain the lore timeline. No, I won't notice any of you. I'm going to attempt to explain the timeline. We're going to find out from a piece of armor later that at this point, New Londo has already fallen. Oh, you fuck. Did you fall like that? Aw, man. At this point, New Londo has already fallen, and Dark Wraiths have taken over the area. Dark Wraiths have invaded all over the place. Gwyn, at this point, if New Londo has already fallen, has to have already linked the fire. Because if New Londo fell to the dark, then Gwyn would have assuredly done everything possible to try and take the Lord Soul Shard that he gave the Four Kings back. Because he's terrified of the dark and of them having any sort of power whatsoever, so obviously he wouldn't be too keen on the thought of creatures of the dark having a Lord Soul in their possession. The bonfires exist, which is actually very important. You might think that that's just a gameplay mechanic, but for lore, that's super important. Because the bonfires existing means that this takes place after the first outbreak of undead has already occurred. Undead have happened at least once already. Because you can't make a bonfire without the undead. Bonfires are made out of human remains, and bonfires work on the power of the Dark Soul and work on the power of the Curse of the Undead. So the undead are already a problem. However, since Undeadburg hasn't been constructed yet, which is very weird, this has to have taken place before an exodus of humans from the human world into Lordran. This kind of complicates things, because if you pay attention to Undeadburg and the landmarks and everything like that, Undeadburg has several things that make this make no fucking sense. For example... Oh, cool, twinklies. For example, Undeadburg has the depictions of the mother and child statue. Now, that's not too weird in the first place, but what is weird about them is the fact that the depictions of the mother and child statue have the child as an infant, as a baby, which means that that child at this point of time should have been a baby, right? Meanwhile, we have, in the Painted World of Ariamis, if you recall, we have, like, the same depiction of mother and child, but the child is more like 12 instead of an infant. Ow. So, Undeadburg had to have been made before the... Undeadburg had to have been made before the gods all leave. But then again, if Gwyn has already linked the fire, then the gods have to either be very close to leaving right now, or in the process of it. Oof. These guys do damage. Give me that, by the way. What you got? Blooming purple moss clump, okay. So, on top of that, to even further complicate things about the timeline, like, all I've said so far, it makes sense that Gwyn would have linked the fire already, right? But then we keep getting these things that kind of make no sense if he already did. And this is another big one. In Undeadburg, there is the Sunlight Altar, which has a statue, a broken statue, of a depiction of Gwyn's firstborn son, the god of war, who was expedited for losing the annals of history / betraying Gwyn in one way, shape, or form, and bringing shame onto the family, and thus becoming a shame to the gods, and them removing his worship and everything like that. So why the fuck, if Gwyn has already lit himself on fire, why would the Undeadburg make a depiction of a statue of the firstborn of Gwyn, only to tear it down or excommunicated, sorry, only to tear it down later for no good reason? So, to make things even worse, to go even more on top of that, the fact that Undeadburg hasn't been made yet means that the Undead Parish doesn't exist. The Undead Parish doesn't exist means that the temple with the gargoyles in it doesn't exist, and the Bell of Awakening doesn't exist right now. If the Bell of Awakening doesn't exist for there, then it stands to reason the Bell of Awakening doesn't exist down in Izalith either. Which means that right now, somehow they just walk past Quelaag or something like that, and go create a Bell of Awakening out of nothing right behind her, and put it up. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So, what would make more sense is, hey, Gwyn hasn't lit himself on fire yet. Ulasil is even further in the past than that. That would make a lot more sense. But the problem with that is that in an interview, one of the producers said that the DLC takes place 300 years prior to the base game, which, if you remember the Speak with Frampt, Gwyn lit himself on fire 1,000 years ago. which means that a lot of stuff doesn't make sense suddenly. Which means that basically FromSoft has no fucking clue what's going on in their own timeline and didn't think about it very hard. Basically, I'm thinking about it way harder than FromSoft ever did. So essentially, FromSoft is wrong, and Ulis Hill actually takes place 1,300 years ago, or 900 years ago, or something like that. By the way, we can actually see the gardeners doing some gardening here, and some gardeners have these neato big ol' scissors, these hedge trimmers that they can use in order to clip stuff. Didn't address the fact that time is distorted in Lordran. Look, you can only get away with so much with the whole time is distorted explanation before people start asking questions. Don't you get snippy with me, sir. Basically, FromSoft didn't think very hard about it, and they kind of rushed out the DLC. So the timeline is all fucked up and doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but another useless gold coin. You're not supposed to think about it that hard, and if you do think about it that hard, then you're thinking about it way harder than FromSoft and Miyazaki ever did and ever will. Owie. I got harvested. Whoop. I had to take a drink first. But, we're starting to get into the corruption of Ulis Hill now. You have objections, but you don't care enough right now? You should start caring, Zora. Give me your objections. I want to hear. Anyway, we're getting into the corruption of Ulis Hill, and these little kind of spires of dark are basically corrupted plants that have been corrupted by the spread of the abyss. That's why they explode into dark like that. And we're going to be finding a lot of hints towards abyssal corruption. Oh, geez. These guys with the scissors are really annoying. Snip, 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 snip. No, I'm gonna keep it. I like big poise. Big poise. Item over there to pick up. Item over here to pick up. Who's walking around? I hear you down there. Ooh. Wee. I love dropping attacks. And right over here, we've got an Elizabeth's mushroom. Oh boy. Alright, let's take a look at this Elizabeth's mushroom, because this thing is... Alright. Large medicinal mushroom of Elizabeth, Keeper of the Sanctuary. Eating this mushroom invigorates the flesh and greatly restores HP for a limited duration. Its dramatic effect can make the difference between a warrior's life and death. You got that fucking right. This thing is overpowered as hell. Thanks, prepaying, by the way. So the Elizabeth's mushroom heals you a lot. Very fast. It's insanely strong. This thing is ridiculously strong, and, there's honestly no reason for it to be so strong. Basically, FromSoft's justification for putting that item in the game and making it so strong is, well, you can only get so many of them. Surely our players will never find a way to dupe them or to cheat them into the game or anything, and, well, they're wrong. Because they do. Hold on. Big jumps. And there's the Guardian Helm. Now all we need is the armor piece, and we are done with collecting the Guardian set. So yeah, the Elizabeth Mushroom heals a lot, like an insanely large amount of health over time. And very fast, and it made PvP kind of cancer for quite a bit. We are currently overlooking the Darkroot Basin. This is the area where, this is essentially the area where we would get the, crap. The Easterner set in modern day, and over there you can actually see the formations of the land. That's where we would come from the parish, right over there, and we would come out, and that would be the hill we'd go down and circle around to get down to here. Can't change game design just because people will cheat? Yeah, you can. However, you can just change the game design because it's not a well-designed item. The Elizabeth mushroom, that is. It's way too strong. Like, there's no reason for it to exist. You get 20 charges of Estus, and your Estus flask can go up to +7. Is this location in the base game? Yeah. This location, you can get to this location in the base game. We're currently overlooking the Darkroot Basin. If we were to go to the base game. Goff's Great Arrows. Oh man, we're talking about a great man here. And this right here is the Darkroot Basin down there. And right about there, where I'm pointing myself towards, that's about where the Hydra would spawn and be shooting magic water spouts at you from. And way back there in that corner, that is where we freed Dusk from the golem and got pulled into this world. Or into this timeline, I should say. Let's take a look at those arrows. Goff's Great Arrow. Great arrow used by Hawkeye Goff, one of Lord Gwyn's 4 knights for dragon slaying. Requires a great bow. Goff personally crafts each stone tip and wraps the shaft tightly with tree bark. So that's talking about one of Gwyn's 4 knights, Hawkeye Goff. And we haven't met him yet, but we will meet him. One of the things that this DLC set out to do was to talk more and give more information about the Gwyn's 4 knights, very specifically Artorias and the Abyss. And there's the Guardian armor. We now have the full Guardian set. We can look like those giant guys if we want to. And this DLC actually does what it sets out to do. It does tell us about the 4 Knights of Gwyn. It lets us meet with the other ones. I mean, the 3 that we didn't meet with before, the one we did meet with before was Ornstein. Let's see. One thing I really like about this area is the ambient noise. Like, that rumbling in the distance is really cool. Alright, let's get back over, yeah? Am I going the wrong way? I might be going the wrong way from where I meant to go. No, I think I'm going the right way. Yeah, there it is. There's the building I was looking for. Down we go. And now let's go over here. And we'll talk with that gentleman in a second. But first we're going to come over here and activate this shortcut. And I'm about to blow your mind. Look where we are, guys. It's the beginning of the Royal Wood, way back here. Look at that. How nice. Once again, right over there, that's Alvina's little kitty chamber. And I grabbed the item up there, right? I think I did. It's bedtime. Alright, King Gerardo. Have a good night, dude. I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out. So, this area we cannot get to in modern day times. This is an area that is cut off from us. So, we're exploring new territories now. Hello.
Let me guess. Snatched by a shadowy limb and dragged off to the past?
Well then. You seem to have an idea of what's going on. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Exactly what happened to me. We are both strangers in this strange land. But at least now there are two of us.
So, for anyone that can't recognize that voice, say hello once more to Knight Lautrec of Kareem. Thanks, Undead Zebra. Cheer Baka. And, this guy here, as you can see,
So long.
I like that. As you can see, shades of Yarnum. Shades of Bloodborne on this guy's outfit. That's Lautrec. It's the same voice as Lautrec, yeah. And this guy is also from Kareem. Or at least it's heavily hinted at. We'll see information regarding it earlier. He also has a little handbag with him. So, if you take a look at this guy's outfit and pretty much everything about him, you can tell that immediately after finishing the Dark Souls 1 DLC, Miyazaki started work on Bloodborne. Because he did. He was basically working on Bloodborne as this DLC was being finished, and this character is super Bloodborne-y. Let's talk with him some more.
Still alive, are you?
Oh.
Think of anything that you might need?
Oh, yes, I'm still alive, am I?
Did you happen across Knight Artorias?
Nope.
The legendary Abysswalker from the old tales. Well, if you haven't, it's just as well. He's a colorless sort, if you ask me.
So, that's pretty telling. He talks about Knight Artorias, and says it's probably a good thing if we didn't walk into him because he's a colorless sort. Now, this could mean one of two things. One thing it could mean is it could go for the old description of calling someone a colorless person. Basically a dullard. It means he's not very interesting. He's kind of a boring guy. He's overly serious and stuff like that. Or it could also be a jab at Artorias being swallowed by the abyss and beaten by it, and becoming defiled by the dark, and losing the light in his soul, and becoming quote-unquote colorless in such a way. I mean, either way.
So, what did that giant mushroom make you do?
Sexual
Not that
things.
I care. It's none of my business.
I love the way he says that line. Makes him sound like he's like, you know, you hook up with that giant mushroom. Where'd she touch you, boy? Don't spare the juicy details. I don't know. Seems weird that he's so interested in it.
I've little to talk about, really. Oh, you know me. What do I know?
So he's obviously playing very coy. He's given us a little bit of information, you know. He's given us the information that he is also from the future. Because, you know, he gave us the whole spiel of being dragged into the past by a giant shadowy limb. And that's also very telling information. That means that Manus wasn't necessarily looking directly for us or for the pendant that we had, but might have just been looking for magic items in general. If we take a look at the purchase items, he doesn't have the most magic of items in the world, but he does have a couple of things that might be alluring. Get it? Alluring? Okay. Anyway, if we take a look at what Chester sells, it's actually very interesting. He sells, you know, green blossoms, moss clumps of all varieties, throwing knives, firebombs, alluring skulls, Lloyd's talismans, black firebombs, Homer bones, and humanities. He's one of the very few merchants that will sell you humanity. So humanity is infinite in this game, even without having to farm rats for them. On top of that, he is one of only 2 total NPCs in the entire game that sells Lloyd's talismans. The only other merchant that sells Lloyd's Talismans, and the only other way to get Lloyd's Talismans, is to buy them from the undead merchant of Undeadburg, the male one, who we killed for his katana early on in the game. So this is the only place we can get Lloyd's Talismans now, is back here. It's almost like perhaps FromSoft made a boo-boo when they made the only way to get these things one NPC in the entire game. As for the rest of his equipment that he sells, you'll notice that the vast majority of them are related to PvP, and that's going to come up a little bit later. The only thing that's not is this Alluring Skull. He also sells sniper bolts, which is actually kind of a rare. Not a lot of merchants will sell sniper bolts, but he sells them because he uses them himself.
So long.
I love the way he says that. So long.
Oh, think of it.
Let's go ahead and buy something from him. I don't think he has dialogue.
So long.
Yeah, it's just so long every time. He seems really uninterested in us.
Oh.
I think that's all he's got.
I've little to talk about, really.
Yep, and that's everything going on with him for the time being. That's all that Captain Smiles over here has to say to us. What's my favorite fish? Tuna's pretty good. I like tuna. Tuna is a very high quality fish when you get a good cut of it. So, we're about to go fight Artorias. I mean, no hiding things. But before that, let's take a look at Priscilla's dagger, because we never did that earlier. We're going to take a look at Priscilla's gear real quick. This sword, one of the rare dragon weapons, came from the tale of Priscilla, the dragon crossbreed in the painted world of Ariamis. Possessing the power of Life Hunt, it dances about when wielded in a fashion reminiscent of the white-robed painting guardians. That's a fancy way of saying it. It has the painting guardian moveset, and it possesses the power of Life Hunt, which is a fancy way of saying it has very high bleed. On top of that, I also have, down here somewhere, the Life Hunt Scythe. Priscilla's Life Hunt Scythe. Scythe born from the soul of Priscilla, the stark white crossbead trapped in the painted world of Ariamis. Even the gods feared Priscilla's Life Hunt ability, and in the hands of a mortal, its power will turn upon its wielder. It has incredible amounts of bleed buildup. And we're going to use it on Artorias, because the gods are afraid of Priscilla, and we're going to bring Priscilla's Life Hunt power to a god. On top of that, let's take a look at her soul, because I didn't kill her earlier. Soul of Priscilla the Crossbead, trapped inside the painted world of Ariamis. Special beings have special souls. Use the soul of this crossbreed bastard child, an antithesis to all life, to acquire a huge amount of souls or create a unique. That is a harsh description. A crossbreed bastard child and antithesis to all life. So I'm not sure whether the chosen undead here is the one giving the description to that soul, or if it's a god that gave the description to that soul. But holy shit, that is harsh. 96 boss souls? Nah, it's legit. Shut up. I didn't cheat. I'm not a cheater. Kind of a cheater. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Are you guys ready? Let's do it. Is that gonna be the boss? Oh. Nope. Reminiscent of the Penetrator Demon. He throws the body at us. What a jerk. So this is Knight Artorias. Let's see. let's find what I was looking for. There we go. So, this is Artorias. And there's some interesting things about him. First off, he is partially blind. If you have the Slumbering Dragon Crest ring, it takes him a lot longer to find your position than if you had nothing going on. Yep. So, by wearing this ring, he'll sometimes just kind of wander away from me because he can't really pinpoint my position perfectly. Asshole. Other interesting things. This is the area where This is an area that we can't get to in modern times. So, a lot of people think this is where you fight Sith, but it is not. We're gonna keep smacking him with, Priscilla's scythe. As for Artorias himself, you'll see he has a lot of big, heavy attacks, and if you take a look at his left arm, it's just kind of dangling about. He's not using his left arm at all. That's because Artorias broke his arm in the fight against Manus. He got his arm completely broken while trying to protect Puppy Sif, who we'll see later on. And because of such, he does not have the use of what is actually his dominant arm. Artorias is left-handed. So he's using his weak arm to fight us, while his strong arm is broke all to hell. And now he's going to power up. I'm going to let him power up. So, very interesting. Artorias has been so corrupted by the Abyss and has lost himself entirely to the point where he's not trying to resist the corruption anymore. Instead, he's using the corruption to his own advantage in order to power himself. And he's got his triple anime flips, which I wanted to show off at least once. And other than that, that's pretty much the main extent of what Artorias can do. Come on. Sling some muck at me, you bastard. Come on, you dumbass. I'm trying to make him swing his hand at me, because... There we go. So that is him throwing... That's him actually slinging some blood coming out of his arm, out of his broke-ass arm, that's corrupted by the Abyss, by the Dark. That's what that attack is. Ow, he hit me. He finally hit me. You notice Artorias has a lot of relatively fast attacks for Dark Souls 1. Ow. Gross. Artorias can get some fast hits in, compared to a lot of enemies. And he has these big ol' swings. Big ol' swings. So you can knock him out of this. I think it takes something like 3 hits, or maybe 2 fast hits, to knock him out of his power-up stage. Ooh, that was a big hit. Ow. Good thing I have big poise. Ow. He's doing a lot of damage now that he's powered up. Look how fast Artorias is, man. And this is fast for Dark Souls 1, and it's slow as hell if you want to compare it to, like, the later games. Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and stuff like that. But you can still see, it's a very fast-paced fight. Artorias doesn't really let up that much. He is quick to attack. Ow. Luckily, poise exists. He's very quick to punish drinks, too. Alright. I think we've about shown what Artorias can do. Go ahead and actually deal with him now. So, the easy way to fight Artorias is honestly what I'm doing here. Well, one of the easy ways. We're in there! Oh! So yeah, if you are too close to him when he powers up, it does have an explosion property. Ow. That's a lot of damage there. Sir, that hurt. Sir, please. Hello, Hellfire Monkey. Welcome to the stream, dude. How you doing? No, you're not going to swing twice? I wanted to be careful. I am slightly low on health. Ow. That was being the opposite of careful. Ow. Fuck! Come on, Artorias. Give me an attack that I can heal off of. Thank you. Oh, really? Huh. Okay. Oh, well. I dicked around a lot. I dicked around a whole lot. We'll just murder the shit out of him this time. Oh yeah, they modeled the Abysswalkers 1000% after Artorias. They're just his big old fan club. Let's see. What ring do I want? Ah, sure, the wolf ring. We'll boost our poise. Hold it, gave that to him, basically. Here, let's make things easy. Let's actually make life very easy on ourselves on this next Artorias attempt. The successful attempt, that is. We're just gonna go in there like this. Maybe I'll put some light cloth armor on for funsies. Let's see, let's get some cosplay going. What should we wear? Let's see, what would be good to kill Artorias as? Well, let's put the Velka equipment on. Why not? Let's see, the black manchette and the black leggings, wherever the hell they are. Black tights, there we go. Alright. Hey, you monster, what's up, dude? How you doing? How's things going, buddy? Alright, let's go murder Artorias, like, really hard this time. I just wanted to show off the various mechanics of his fight. Come and get me, son. Ah. Ooh. Number 3? No, not number 3. Like, look how fast Artorias can just recover and do stuff. If you have a big slow weapon like this, can be hard to get a riposte off on him. What you gonna do, sir? Ow. Oh, come on, really? These Estus punishes, man. They're so swift, so quick. Asshole. What's that? I could get Kieran's armor, or however you spell it, before Artorias. I mean, I technically could if I wanted to cheat. But I'm not a cheater. I've never cheated in my life. Never in my life have I cheated. Alright, his buff is over, so comes another. Eh. Uh-huh. 3? No, you're only gonna do 2, huh? It's kind of weird. If Artorias sees that his little leapy attacks aren't working, he kind of stops them. Come on, do more anime leaps. There you go, buddy. Oh no, they didn't work because I have a fucking shield. How sad for you. Oh man. Ow. That was fast. That was so fast. I killed 96 times on New Game somehow? Yeah. And we still haven't killed him yet. I killed him 96 times, but I haven't killed him yet. Don't worry about it. Just don't think about it too hard, and it's fine. Hellfire Monkey with the follow. Thanks for the follow, dude. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying the show right now. Glad to have you here. Thanks for the support of the follow. I really appreciate it. Fucking really? That's unfortunate. Yep. Alright, Artorias, are you about ready to die? Oof. Come on, buddy. You attack me, I attack you, one of us dies, and his name begins with an A. Oh, you bastard. Big boys! Oh, well, I didn't need big boys. And with that, we get the Soul of Artorias. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the Soul of Artorias, shall we? Soul of Knight Artorias, victim of the Abyss. Never cheated? Never sorry. Soul of Lord Gwyn's Knight Artorias, who was consumed by the Abyss. The legend that Artorias repelled the Abyss was only told half of the story. It seems that he was defeated and his honor preserved by some unsung hero. Who is the true victor over the Abyss? As in, Artorias stole our glory because he's a fucking bitch. What a bitch. So some interesting stuff about Artorias. Originally, Artorias had dialogue and stuff that he would talk about, but it was cut out. The content itself was cut, but specifically what Artorias would say, and he was voiced by Griggs, the same voice actor that voiced Griggs, and had a somewhat similar voice, but distorted and kind of, you can find it on YouTube, but what he would say is, whatever thou art, stay away. Soon I will be consumed by them, by the dark. Thou art strong, human. Surely thine kind are more than pure dark. I assume he would say that one as he was dying or during the fight. I beg of thee, the spread of the Abyss must be stopped. And finally, Sif, there you are. All of you, forgive me, for I have availed you nothing. And that's probably his final dying words. And also various grunts and screams as you fight him. So they kind of removed that because they wanted Artorias to seem much more beastly, like his entire being was consumed by the Abyss, and they did a pretty darn good job of it. The way Artorias moves, the way he runs around, and kind of has little reserve for his own well-being with his attacks and kind of puts himself fully into it, really makes him seem like he's completely not cognizant anyway. I like what they did with Artorias here. Hey, Slam Squids, what's up? Ironically, in Dark Souls 3, the Abyss Watchers, aka the Artorias fan club, are big dumb idiots. And they're either big dumb idiots on purpose, or they're big dumb idiots because Miyazaki completely forgot that Artorias had a shield originally. But, the Abyss Watchers in Dark Souls 3 kick out one of the members of their own because he used a shield and wouldn't wouldn't use a parrying dagger along with his main sword, along with the great sword that resembles Artorias's. Completely ignoring the fact that Artorias, before he was corrupted by the Abyss, had a great shield. I know it's dumb. I know. I'm upset too, guys. Let's see. I want to grab a new weapon. Actually, before I do that, we got business to take care of. We're going back to Firelink for just a moment, guys. Specifically because now that Artorias has died, we've murdered him and defeated him and crushed his dreams and everything like that. There's a couple things we can do. First off, fuck that guy up. Fuck this guy up. You can't stop me, I have big boys. But I want to come over here, talk with our good friend Dunhall. Dunholm.
Aye, Shemai. I didn't expect to meet anybody here. I suppose great minds think alike, eh?
And he will now have for us Artorias' set. Helm of Artorias the Abysswalker, one of Gwyn's 4 knights. The death of the helm's owner can be surmised from the corrosive dark of the abyss and the musty azure blue tassel, once a symbol of pride and glory. Armor of Artorias, basically the same thing, with a tattered cape, and all that stuff. Hell, let's buy the golem stuff too. And his stuff, I'm rich. Whoops. I forgot, he sells you as many of those as you want.
Thank you. That was a fine trade. I have this funny feeling we'll meet again soon. And we'll make another fine trade, of course.
Oh yes, of course, of course. Alright, that's all I wanted to do. So then, we now have Artorias' awesome armor set. And by awesome, I mean okay armor set. Go ahead and put it on. So, I kind of wish that we could get a fully put together armor set of Artorias, like not all tattered up and torn apart like this. Because while it looks pretty good, imagine what it would look like if it was complete. The worst part of it are these leggings. You got major chicken legs with these things. Like, they actually make your legs thinner than what they are. Down towards the bottom. You lose leg mass with these. It looks not great. What I can do, though, what you can do with these, if you don't like the leggings, put the Silver Knight leggings on, which look almost identical, because Artorias' armor set is very similar to the Silver Knight set. It's possibly because Artorias might have had... Shut up over there, I'm talking. It's possibly like that because Artorias very well might have trained the Silver Knights or been one of the higher ranking officials of the Silver Knights before he became one of Gwyn's 4 knights. And thus he pretty much got himself a unique set of the Silver Knight armor. On top of that, we're going to equip the Artorias Great Shield and the Artorias Great Sword. Is, I think I passed it, actually. Great Sword of Artorias, where are you? Oh, I didn't pass it, did I? Oh, we'll just spin back around. I have 1 or 2 items. So there's actually 3 different Great Swords of Artorias. I currently have 2 of them. We have this one. This, and the 2 I have are gotten from the Soul of Sif. Sword born from the soul of the great grey wolf Sif, guardian of the grave of the Abysswalker knight Artorias. The sword can damage ghosts, as it was cursed when Artorias joined a covenant with the creatures of the Abyss. So this is his sword after he joins the covenant with, I believe it's basically supposed to say he joined the covenant with Frampt, because Frampt is a creature of the Abyss, and it allowed him to attack ghosts, which is very useful considering the fact that Artorias fought against the dark wraiths and ghosts in New Londo. And the other one, this is the original Great Sword of Artorias. Sword born from the soul of the Great Grey Wolf Sif, guardian of the grave of the Abysswalker Knight Artorias. Sir Artorias hunted the Dark Wraiths, and his sword strikes harder against Dark Servants. So, a couple things I want to point out. First off, it says he hunted the Dark Wraiths, so that is our proof that Artorias most definitely had the New Londo shit went down and Artorias went there. Unless Dark Wraiths were just kind of wandering around before they took over New Londo, but that's kind of it's harder to believe. And the other thing I want to point out is look at the requirements. 24 strength, 18 dex, 20 int, and 20 faith. So this has scaling in strength, dex, int, and faith. On top of that, it does some divine damage, which is lost on this Great Sword of Artorias. On the cursed version of it. It also does a little bit of magic damage and scales with that. So, this thing with all of its different scaling, if you have very high levels, like you are level 60 with everything or something like that, it is one of the better pieces of one of the better weapons in the game that you can use because of all the different forms of scaling. Also, we are going to keep the wolf ring on to help with our cosplay of Artorias. Oh man, we're slow with all this stuff. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Great Shield. Shield born from the soul of the Great Grey Wolf Sif, guardian of the grave of the Abysswalker Knight Artorias. It boasts consistent defense and divine protection against various status effects. Put both on? I mean, we can do a quick comparison. This one has more physical damage for with the trade-off of losing the magic damage. So, this would definitely do better when impacting against someone's defenses. This also does take basically the same parameters, but slightly less int and faith. Here, we'll do this real quick, just for funsies. I have to go through so many pieces of equipment. Alright, here we go. We've got them both. We're dual wielding now, boys. We are the ultimate Artorias. Also, I want to point out the R2 is the charge that Artorias does, but it doesn't go nearly as far. And this R2 is his big spinning attack, but it doesn't go nearly as 360 as Artorias does. Alright, let's go over here. Hey babe, it's me. And this is Kieran. Let me just... hold on, I have some notes about Kieran. So Kieran is one of Gwyn's 4 knights. I'm going to take a good look at her real quick. She is one of Gwyn's 4 knights, and she is very strongly hinted at being Artorias' love interest, or at the very least, a very important person. He was a very important person in her life. She is actually an assassin, which kind of makes it weird that she'd be one of Gwyn's 4 knights. How did she fight dragons if she's an assassin? I don't know. And she, over here, she has come here and she has erected a cenotaph where Artorias has died because Artorias faded from existence and didn't really leave a body. For anyone that doesn't know, a cenotaph is basically an empty tomb or a monument for a grave without a body. And you can see there's Artorias' little head tassel is lying there, which makes no sense because I have it on my head right now. And basically the little pieces here, you can kind of see a depiction of a symbol of the sun and some leaves, which if we take a look over here, is actually just this. It is literally this mural right there. But I don't know where the hell she got it, because none of these have any things that are chipped or broken off. So I don't know. They just put it here. FromSoft clearly didn't think that we would recognize it, but, you know, if you pay attention, you can. And she's laid a nice little flower there, a little, was that a lily, I guess? I don't know. A white flower. I'm not too good with flowers. I'm not a botanist. One thing she does have that I'm not too fond of is her boots, she has heels. She kind of has high heels. One way we could explain that is if she was a riding knight, then there would be these grooves in her feet for the purposes of using stirrups, but we've never seen a horse in the entirety of the game, so that's kind of hard to believe. I think they just gave her high heels because female. Also, she's got this weird back armor that is very visible. It's kind of like this spine armor. Maybe since she's an assassin, she's wary of backstabs. She also has this eye on the back of her helmet, which might be another symbol of that, as in she's always watching her own back and protecting it, which is kind of not true, because here I am right behind her and she's not doing a damn thing. As for the hair that's coming out of her helmet, it could be just decorative, or it could actually be her hair. I don't know, because once we get that helmet and that set, we will have that hair for ourselves as well, so I think it's just decorative, but it could be either one. And as you notice, she is wearing blue. She's wearing a slightly deeper hue of blue, not quite the same azure blue as Artorias, but she's wearing blue just like Artorias, which is a really nice, it's a nice, quick, subtle way of showing that there was a relationship between the two. And I really like that. I also really like the fact that there are colors to these characters. Like Dark Souls, and this is especially true for Bloodborne. Bloodborne is terrible with this. It's very easy to go like, oh, it's a... hey, Trokar, 22481, welcome to the stream, dude. Thanks for the follow, Trokar. Hope you're enjoying the show, man. Appreciate the support. Anyway, like I said, Bloodborne's really terrible about this, but it's very easy to, be like, oh, it's a dark story, and dark things happen, and stuff like that, so everything should be colored darkly, and they shouldn't add a lot of color and personality to stuff, but they did a good job. You know, the azure blue that Artorias has, and the nice slightly deeper blue that Kieran has for her armor looks really nice, and you've got this blue for the Abyss around here. I like that they added actual colors to the game. So, we've dicked around long enough. I'm going to do one thing real quick, because we're going to have a couple of different dialogue options here, and I want to show all of them off. Every last one of them. All right. So I just backed up my save real quick. No problem. So we're gonna talk with Kieran, see what she thinks.
Is that not the soul of the man who fell on this spot?
Sure is.
He was a dear friend. I wish to pay proper respect with that soul. Would you be willing to part with it?
So, give Soul of Artorias. So, I want to point out, Artorias' soul can make two different things, I believe. And giving up his soul means that you won't be able to make them. However, not giving up his soul means you won't be able to get certain weapons in the game, because Miyazaki and branching choices and stuff like that. Anyway, let's go ahead and say no.
Yes, of course. I must not be presumptuous. Artorias would not have approved.
So, she's obviously trying to still pay respects to Artorias. She says she must not be presumptuous or he would not approve.
What is it? Something else? Have you changed your mind?
Nah.
Then you have no business with me.
You can see she gets a little snippier when you, say that again.
Something else? Have you changed your mind?
Nope.
Then you have no business with me.
So, let's go ahead and aggro her. Hold on. There we go.
You humans, always taking what you please. Then I shall do the same.
Sweetie, there a reason you're going around there? So, the weapons she uses are the gold and silver tracers. She also throws Lloyd's talismans, which is kind of lore significant. That means that the church, the undead hunters of All Father Lloyd, all of that stuff currently exists because Lloyd's talismans exist already. Further proof that the undead outbreak has happened at least once already. So you can see she's building up a lot of bleed. Very fast bleed build-up. That is specifically the gold tracer in her main hand. Did you just throw a knife at me? That was funny. Are you gonna... Oh no, blood loss. So yeah, that's what happens if you try and use a Estus during a Lloyd's Talisman. Oh, a headshot! What a fucking shot. So the way Kieran fights is she leads with her gold tracer, and in her offhand she has... Oh, actually it's in her offhand is the gold tracer, and her main hand is the silver tracer. Weird. But she builds up bleed very fast with it.
Such conceit. How did you imagine that the Lord's blade would not reach you?
And she's very proud of herself when she kills you. She's so proud of herself. Now this time, we're gonna kill her real quick. Or actually, no. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna load up that save I had. I don't want to quite kill her at this point in time. I just wanted to show off what she said if she killed you. She just says, you know, the Lord's blade would reach you. And she's obviously very rude to you. And humans in general. She says humans just kind of take whatever you want. So this time we're going to say yes.
Thank you. You are very kind.
I know.
Please take this. I no longer need it.
And for giving her the Soul of Artorias, she gives us her weapons, the Dark Silver Tracer and the Gold Tracer.
May the Lord guide thee.
And she's even so happy when she says that. May the Lord guide thee. Oh, she's so cute when she says it. So let's take a look at her weapons. Oh boy. Let's see, where's that Gold Tracer? God. Gonna take a little while. Oh, there it is. And in our offhand, we'll go ahead and do the Dark Silver Tracer. So, here we go. Curved sword used by the Lord's Blade Kieran, one of the Lord Gwyn's 4 knights. Kieran brandishes her sword in a mesmerizing dance, etching the darkness with dire streaks of gold. And right here, a dark silver dagger used by Lord's Blade Kieran. The victim is first distracted by dazzling streaks of the gold tracer, and then stung by the vicious poison of this dagger. So, the Dark Silver Tracer, both of these weapons, by the way, have S rank Dex scaling. Or A rank for the Gold Tracer, S rank for the Silver Tracer. So the Silver Tracer builds up poison. It can be used to parry. The Gold Tracer builds up bleed. And there's the R2 of the Gold Tracer. It spins you around. Right round, baby, right round. Let's swap their positions on the equipment real quick, and we'll show what it looks like the opposite way. But once again, a lot of flourish, a lot of spins with the attacks. The Dark Silver Tracer has a much more normal moveset. So the L1 had... So yeah, if you take the Gold Tracer in your offhand, then you have spins on the L2, spins on the L1, and then the Silver Tracer just has a very normal moveset. To be quite honest, the Dark Silver Tracer is kind of not astounding, and the Gold Tracer is really good. The reason the Gold Tracer is so good is because it builds up bleed incredibly fast. It's probably the fastest bleed build-up weapon in the entire game. Now, per hit, the Life Hunt Scythe builds up bleed faster, and Priscilla's Dagger will build up bleed faster, but because of the fact that one of those quick little spins hits twice with the Gold Tracer, and very quickly, it builds up the bleed bar it beats out the speed of the Light Hunt Scythe.
May the Lord guide thee.
And yes, may the Lord guide thee. So, she says, may the Lord guide thee, and I guess that's supposed to be Lord Gwyn? But again, that makes no sense, because Lord Gwyn had to have burnt himself up at this time, unless this is actually back further in time than what FromSoft thinks it is. Again, FromSoft doesn't know their own timeline. Hey, Kage-sama, what's up? Also, I want to point out that she has these kind of claws on her gauntlets. Possibly for combat. You'll notice that the Silver Knights gauntlets also have kind of claws like that. Let's take a look at them. It's kind of hard to tell here, but they do have slightly pointier fingertips than your average gauntlets. And so Kieran is now happy as can be. She's super happy. She's got Artorias' soul. She's able to lay him to rest and everything like that. Interesting thing, she said she doesn't need her, She said she doesn't need her... I guess I can't do it with this. She said she doesn't need her weapons anymore. If you kick her up, she doesn't have her weapons. Oh yeah, let's get right behind her.
May the Lord guide.
We can actually get a really good look at her. Now. Get a good look at her butt and everything. Oh yeah, there we go. Hot. And, personally, I really like her mask. And we can actually see... This is also something very important, but we'll talk about in a second. We can see that she's about roughly the same height as us. And she also has a god soul as the same as Artorias did. Meaning that not all people with the god soul are giants. There is a variety of sizes for them. Artorias was roughly 1.5 times our size, while Kieran is about the same size as us. That is specifically because she uses the player character model for her model, by the way. Hey, piece of sill! What's up? How you doing? And you can very barely see part of her model from under her helmet. Can't really get in there, though, can we? Nope, it's kind of empty on the inside. Give us eyes on the inside. Grant us eyes. Okay, yep. Her face is just deleted because of the mask. Ooh, also, neat little thing. There are these cute little curly horns on the side of her head. Look how cute those little curly horns are. They're so cute. And that's, alright, that's the basics of Kieran. We'll have more with her later. Let's go ahead. We are the ultimate Artorias, so we get 2 Artorias blades, by the way, guys. Someday we'll have all 3 of Artorias' blades. Someday. Maybe. Did Artorias and Kieran plushies? Nice. So, soul of a hero. Hero died there. Poor hero. Oh, also, I kind of want to point out something. I haven't pointed it out before, but the detail on shields is kind of amazing in this game. Not necessarily the detail just on the nice emblems and stuff on them, but if you look on the inside of the shields, there are various straps set up in different ways, and there is another crest. Because, and this might be a little bit more pronounced here, But you can see that there are two different forms of straps on this tower shield, and that is very historically accurate, because very often you wouldn't really hold a tower shield up like this. Instead, you would band your arm through those two straps on the side like that and hold it up in front of yourself by kind of putting your forearm through those. It would give you really good protection. But I just want to point that out because I haven't before. Hey, Zor-El. Have a good night, dude. I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, what's that sound? I want to go see that. Oh, it's locked. So, that is where Hawkeye Goff is currently residing. He's hanging out up there. And for those that don't know, Hawkeye Goff is a giant. And when I say a giant, I mean an honest-to-goodness giant. A real giant. He is giant. So I want to ask, how the fuck did he get in there? Because let's take a look at how big this door is. It's slightly larger than us. Hawkeye Goff is like 20 times our size. Did they airlift him with a helicopter or something? I have no clue how he got up there, but he's up there. He could have climbed the wall. With what grabbing holds? That is a sheer wall, man. He would need some big stuff to grab onto. See you later, Coloradical. Thanks for hanging out, by the way, dude. Glad to have had you here. But yeah, somehow Hawkeye Goff is up there. We'll go speak with him later. Calamite put him there. I mean, that's the only other description. That's the only other thing that I could think of. They built it around him, clearly. Let's see. Right. Battle of Stoicism. Gazebo. Only available online. 3 types of battles, 1v1, 2v2, and deathmatch. Earn consecutive wins to be etched in the Slate of Legends. Oh boy, the plaque of oh, am I not online? Oh, well, whatever. So let's go into the Battle of Stoicism real quick. This is an early attempt at a PvP arena for Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 2 does it a little bit better, and then Dark Souls 3 also does it a little bit better. Essentially, this area was specifically designated for players to come into and have PvP zones. And these gates could be dropped onto people, and they could open up and stuff, and you would run around the area and try and backstab each other for the most part. It was kind of popular on the release of the DLC, but very quickly just kind of lost popularity. Didn't take too long. Part of the reason is because just good old-fashioned PvP in various areas and covenants just has better rewards. By the way, Piece of Seal is now following. Thanks so much for the follow. Glad to have you here. Hope you're enjoying the show, by the way. Thanks for being here. So, Purple Coward's Crystal. Let's take a quick look at that. That's the whole reason I came in here in the first place. Exit the Battle of Stoicism. Quit the battle. Victory in this battle once led to ancient Anor Londo, but even in the absence of its overseer, capitulation is a disgrace. In the name of a warrior's honor, do not quickly resort to use of this crystal. So, victory in this battle once led to ancient Anor Londo. That means, that's kind of telling. This here might be like an old... essentially an old, like, real-life beta test for Sen's Fortress. You'll notice that the architecture is very similar to Sen's Fortress for the walls here with the spikes up there and everything like that, along with the gates and everything as well. So, this is all developer message. Allies receive credit for fallen enemies, win streak, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Anyway, this looks very much like the top of Sen's And one thing I want to point out is that the bonfire here is blue. I can think of absolutely zero lore reasons, and I think it's just a player thing, so, sorry. I can't even shove my hand up my ass to pull out yet another lore reason out of nowhere for that one. Anyway, if I was online and I took a look at this, we would have, like, a consecutive win rate of, like, 9999999 for the top, like, the top 10 or 100 players, because they just cheated, essentially. That's how they do. By the way, I want to point out, Kieran is now gone. Disappeared from the world. Gone forever. And I do mean gone forever. She's actually, for reals, gone forever. She will not come back at all. Which is why, like I said before, we're going to be finishing off our speaking with Kieran. And we're going to do it this time. So, as you can see, giving your items to Kieran, not necessarily the best thing in the world. It makes her happy, which is cute and all. But, this time we're going to say no. I must not be presumptuous. And now she's going to feel the wrath of Artorias in her butt.
You humans, always taking what you please.
Are we gonna fight, sweetie? Here, let me swing with my left hand. Now let me swing with my right hand like a big dumb idiot. Here, I'll just one-hand this sword real quick, and boosh. Big R2s. You can't beat Artorias. You never could. This is probably the stupidest thing I've ever done for a fight. But how? Oh no! Well, now I'm gonna have to kill her again. Her dialogue cut out for no reason. God damn it. Her dialogue cut out. That's annoying. I'm gonna have to kill her again. How sad. Everybody weep a tear for Kieran. She has to die twice.
You humans, always taking what you please.
This is actually a pretty decent strategy for fighting her. This is why you don't spin in combat, because someone's just gonna stab you in the fucking back while you're busy doing your stupid anime spins. There's your Lloyd's talismans. Turns out assassins don't work well against shields, by the way. She is fast, though. Alright, we have to rip her one more time. Come on, sweetie. Bounce off. There you go. Stop rolling out of the way. Just take the hit.
How?
Alright.
You humans, my dear Artorias.
So there's the actual dialogue that tells us that she has a relationship with Artorias. She says, "My dear Artorias," while dying. It isn't subtitled, but a couple things. You humans, it shows that she is a little bit racist against humans at this time. Possibly because of the curse of the undead running rampant through the world. As, you know, we humans and our pesky curses. And then she says, "My dear Artorias." And we do get her items for killing her. And her outfit. And I like her outfit. I actually really like her outfit. Mask of the Lord's Blade Kieran, one of Gwyn's 4 knights. The Cyclops headpiece is common to all of the Lord's Blades, but Kieran was determined to earn this soft porcelain mask as a unique decoration of honor. The mask is lined with ivory locks of hair. So, like I said before, the hair may not actually be hers, and it might just be decorative. A robe common to all the Lord's blades, these deadly women shift nimbly between layers of darkness, etching streaks of gold into the night air, and planting visions of terror into the minds of their targets. So you put those on, and once more I have this hair thing because of it. And, yep, I believe the gloves and the pants have the same description. I kind of like the waistcloth with the Artorias set. The only unfortunate part about the Lord's Blade set is that it has relatively weak poise. It doesn't have much poise going for it at all, so when it comes to being big and fat and heavy, you know, the way that I like to casually play Dark Souls, it's not great for that. My character looks great in heels. Yeah, he does. The sexy beast. I'll go ahead and kindle a few times. I got plenty of humanities. That's fine. 15 is more than enough. So, seeing as the history books say that Artorias went through Ulasil and cleared out the Abyss, let's go ahead and make sure that Artorias goes throughout Ulasil and clears out the Abyss. Welcome to the